So Rocket Lab stock shot from $3 to $30 a share in an explosive 10x move, and now it's consolidating. The big question is, what happens next? Is this that calm before the storm or another liftoff? And is it possible that it's maybe losing some altitude here? Let's get into it and see what's up. So Rocket Lab stock was again at $3 a share. This was back here in what was April of last year, and it shot up consistently, bowled up until hitting $30 a share in this really an explosive move. Now, I've kind of just mapped out the support and resistance. The way that we like to look at this is we go through 3 steps in identifying what could be next for Rocket Lab. We'll look a little bit at the market, and then we look at the technicals along with the news and the financials, and that's in that third step of the analysis. So first market, second analysis, and then the third thing we look at is kind of the plan. What does it look like here in the future? What might we expect here for Rocket Lab? So when I look at Rocket Lab stock, you see it peaked out here around $30. It's been consolidating between these levels and just recently broke below this 200-day moving average. The reason that's important to note is because anytime there's a stock that's under that moving average, a lot of times it's going to act bearish. It's going to be rejected by the moving average. So being below, I mean, you could scratch the moving average. Let's take a look at the exponential moving average, this blue line. You see this blue line right here is going to act as a support when things are bullish, you can see. And when things go bearish, it usually crosses below, and it's been kind of struggling to stay above it recently. It's been consolidating, then it pushed up, it was staying above it, and now it's through this consolidation period crossed below the simple moving average. So RSI, MACD do look a little bit more towards the buy side if it's going to continue to consolidate like this. Now, if it continues its upward direction in the direction it was going, we could see it close to $40 a share or $50 a share. But that would be, like, again, a 40% increase or so. So in order for that to happen, there's a few things that we need to see. First thing on the technicals, first of all, the market actually. In the market, we're going to see a lot of growth here in 2025. You see a lot of companies that are launching their satellites, that are signing contracts with rideshare missions that you can see with SpaceX, for example. They just signed a rideshare mission you could look at LAES stock in order to launch technologies up into space. You can see the rideshare mission for cooler stock. They're launching batteries up to test them. And of course, now you have Rocket Lab, who has their own kind of rideshare where they're launching other companies up into space and getting paid to do so, and giving those companies the opportunity to maybe have satellites that support their network of constellation. You could have like some satellite internet that's going down. You could also have some internet connectivity, Internet of Things, really, where you could maybe even have a goal of monitoring things back on Earth. So there are things that they're doing that are bringing a lot of value to the world in that regard. And so just because we see this technical looking a little bit bearish, it is consolidating. Why it might hold this level and why we might see it actually continue to bull up is something we should look at here. RKLB is the ticker symbol. The news has been good. There's a few things. If you look recently, they challenged NASA. They said, hey, we can actually do this Mars mission that you guys are doing, that you're saying it's going to take many years. We're saying we could do it right now. That was one thing that recently happened. You see that they're launched. This is a second reentry class spacecraft for Varda. So not only are they launching this in for Air Force Research and NASA, they're launching this. It's going to be coming back down as well. It's this capsule that essentially it is designed. Let's see. Spacecraft was designed and tested at Rocket Lab Spacecraft Production Complex and headquarters in Long Beach. I have a friend that works at SpaceX Rocket Lab in Long Beach, and he's been saying that they're doing some really awesome tech there as well. So they're launching this. You can see Pioneer spacecraft for Varda Space Industries, and I don't want to say it's a rideshare mission. It seems like it's in partnership. We'll see what that comes out to. But you might say, well, that's kind of techie. So they're a rocket company. They're launching things into space. Like, why do we care? What's maybe in the future for this company? What do things look like? Well, a couple things. When you have a company that's developing tech for space, how many of those technological advancements that need to withstand extreme temperatures, that need to potentially have zero gravity functionality, how many of those things make their way back to the Earth? You can look at NASA, all the times that they develop things for space, they come back. That's one thing. So there's this Mars mission. Okay, I don't know if this is Motley Fool, how this looks. Maybe we need to search it. I believe it was called Rocket Lab News MSR. I think that was the name of the mission. Here's another thing. So Rocket Lab asks NASA to open up MSR to commercial competition. Reason being, NASA estimated here that earlier assessments of this Mars mission, okay, to essentially go studying new architectures for MSR, deliver a sample retrieval lander, so going to Mars, getting a sample landing system, and this was going to cost about $11 billion and return a sample in 2040. So again, about 15 years from now, we get a sample back for $11 billion. Now, you can see Rocket Lab, they actually proposed here that says, this is Richard French, he says, we think we're the organization that can bring these Mars samples home faster and cheaper. And they say, our architecture as proposed to NASA was to bring samples back for less than $4 billion. So not $11 billion, less than $4 billion, and as early as 2031. So not 2040, we're talking about 2031. So just about 6 years from now. A number of these programs are pushing forward the capabilities that we'd ultimately need for MSR, he said. The company got little response from NASA and the MSR study, and then Rocket Lab responded, it was pretty frustrating. We received very little to no feedback on our inputs. So he said Rocket Lab wants NASA, rather than continue studies of MSR, instead open the program to commercial competition. And if NASA wants to show leadership, it's to lean into commercial and capability that would be and be bold and compete, he argued. We're pretty hopeful with what the new administration is going to bring and how they respond to this set of recommendations. So French noted NASA is asking at least $300 million in the final fiscal year 2025 appropriations bill for this study. So there could be a lot of money in this for any company that's willing to take this on. Rocket Lab saying we could take it on and we could do it for less and we'll do more, essentially. And so outside of that, you had Rocket Lab. We go into financials, but I actually wanted to bring up one more interesting one. A few more, actually, because we should go directly to their site, get you guys the best sources. But there is this one company that is called Kineis, okay? And it's kind of like Starlink, right? So they have these satellites in space that have internet connectivity. So they're talking about data. They're talking about potentially having internet sent down from satellites to ground devices here on Earth, and also be able to monitor things here. And they sent company's 50th Electron launch to June 2024. But the company will deploy 5 Internet of Things satellites for Kineis. So they did that. You can see back in December. We'll take a look at their news. There's an Army contract, I believe it was, or a Air Force contract. So this is just in this year alone, just in 2025. You can see they got a DoD. It says Rocket Lab selected by Kratos to deliver hypersonic test launches for DoD with HASTE rocket. You got Rocket Lab successfully deploys satellite Force Inspective, caps off year with 60% increase in launches. So they're launching more and more year over year. Then they got this advanced U.S. capabilities. They got, I thought it was a contract with Air Force, I believe. Or yeah, we went through that one. Air Force. And then Rocket Lab, Air Force Research Lab to showcase digital engineering. Basically, when we look at these things, it all shows that they're innovating and that they're partnering and increasing their productivity. The other thing that happened was this $24 million CHIPS incentives award to boost their own semiconductor manufacturing. So that's a big deal because semiconductors are really big, especially in AI. But you can see the award will help ensure U.S. leadership compound semiconductor manufacturing capability while reinforcing Rocket Lab's position as a leader in space-grade solar cell production. So the investment will enable Rocket Lab to expand production, create highly skilled manufacturing jobs, and generate economic and workforce development activity in New Mexico. So that's where one of their field offices, or I guess a place where they're working on these semiconductor chips, is located. And then just a little overview, you can see it says employing more than 370 people. They're actually employing over 1,500 people. And so their workforce is growing pretty fast. And so when we look at the news, those things are all great. Let's take a look at the financials of Rocket Lab. See what's up here. So we got a couple things. First, revenue is up 54% year over year to $104 million. It's good, but the net income's still down about $50 million. But if you see, if they do that one more year, 50% one more year, they will be net positive. I don't think it's their goal to really turn a big profit. I think it's their goal to reinvest as much as they can. And so maybe we won't see that. We dove deep into the actual financials on the company's actual earnings report in a past video. So make sure to subscribe if that's something you want to do or you want to look at. But basically what we found when we went through their financial statements is that their assets were heavily weighted in about, $170 million property, plant, and equipment, which was good. And that meant essentially their assets, if you look year over year, they increased their assets from 940 million to 1.15 billion, which is an increase. But then they also increased their liabilities from 386 million to 700 million year over year. And you can see where most of the weight was made up was convertible senior notes and contract liabilities. So basically contract liabilities, they most likely will have to pay out. And those things didn't increase massively. It was kind of just a widespread increase. But those financials are not that worrying. It looks like a company reinvesting back into their company. See their earnings per share. They've been beating earnings per share every quarter in 2024. They missed revenue on 2 of the quarters by just under 2.5% on one, and then under 1%. And then they beat both revenue and earnings per share in quarter 3 2024 here. And that was a 13% surprise. So definitely pretty good growth trajectory. Cost of revenue has gone up. Net in cash is negative 47 million, up 15% year over year. That's a little concerning, but again, they're getting some good contracts. I think that they're most likely going to potentially continue to innovate and continue to hold strong as a rocket company. I don't see them. Things are looking less volatile now than they did in the past. And so when we look at their company long term, they had this massive push up. They've kind of sold off. It's possible that we see it sell. If we see it sell back down to this green support, then that would essentially put them more in pattern. So down to that $21 range would put them kind of in pattern to continue a consistent uptrend. Now we'll see, it's been volatile, but it's also a nice swing. We'll see if anything presents itself at market open. If you guys want to watch me trade live, you'd like to surround yourself with other traders and investors, we go live at market open each day, and you can join for a limited time. There's a great offer, discount code in the second link in the description to join Stockmates if you would like to watch me trade live and get the best resources on these companies. So again, I would encourage you guys, simply take a look, second link down below. I appreciate you all. Rocket Labs One will be watching closely. I definitely have been investing in it for a couple of years, and I continue to not only hold positions, but continue to trade it. And I look forward to sharing more updates with it with you guys, or on it with you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. Do consider hitting that like button. Do consider subscribing. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.